Our whole webinar is predicated upon actionable CX and AI strategies to drive profitability. And the emphasis is on actionable. So we're going to be giving you a blueprint essentially of 5 really core technologies and strategies you can apply in your business to make your organization more sustainable and more hardened as a business, because we all know that there's a lot of uncertainty in the world today. Let's unpack that uncertainty within the context of sustainability. So that's what these strategies are going to address. They're going to address sustainability in your business. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at leveraging technology. Of course, AI is at the corner. We've got a lot of things that have changed inside of the business world in terms of e-commerce, the ability to access and conduct business on a smartphone, businesses creating technology with low code, no code, and of course, all the aspects of cybersecurity around it. But then I'd also really like to talk about the fact that customer expectations have changed as well. Their expectations around your availability, personalization, ease of use, all these things are about building a relationship and meeting people where they are. Fundamentally as well, I want to talk about sustainability and profitability. And it's really about becoming an elastic organization. That's how I really want to unpack this for you in a way that you see that it makes the incremental changes in your business, in sales, in support, at the marketing level, at the entire company level, that allows you to be elastic. And what do I mean by that? Well, ultimately, you may have a situation like in this graph I'm showing you here, where your sales go down in a particular year. But what if your profit did not? What if you were able to downsize your organization elastically and scale up so that you have the ability to adjust and adapt to changing economic environments? Well, that would be powerful. So what are we going to do here? Today, we're going to break all this down and we're going to focus it within the context of a function, a group of people, and a team: marketing, sales, and support. It's about creating demand all the way to supporting that customer through lifetime customer value and being able to have loyalty at its core. Well, there's this mission that this team has, and this is why I think this is really important, because we're going to play this out into the 5 strategies. We have to have better intel and know our customers and our competition more effectively. We have to deliver incredible experiences and gain insights. This is what our customers are expecting. And yes, at the very core, we have to just get and keep customers. That's the lifeblood of a business, of an organization. And that really comes from this customer-facing group of people. So this is something, again, you can share with your CFO. You can share this with your CIO. You can share this with your CEO, because they're going to have a really clear understanding of how we're going to activate the ability to be more profitable in your business. Well, there's some challenges for sure, and they really underscore the need for action. And the first one is, well, uncertainty kind of permeates our culture. We know that that is happening. There's a downforce out there that's creating like a compression or even disruption, but potentially even opportunity. And it stems back from the pandemic where everything changed. I think you can agree that ultimately business afterwards has been different. Society afterwards has been different. We've had domestic unrest. And this is also coming into a level of economic uncertainty right now as we speak. It's not business as usual, for sure, because of all of these compounding factors. But there's also a technological overlay here as well, in the fact that global competition has changed. So e-commerce, your competitor is not necessarily sitting right across the road from you or across the country. They're around the world. You don't see them. And so things are changing outside of your scope of understanding and awareness. The second thing is, there's this new playing field out there that's really come about from AI, the ability to leverage technology to create a level playing field. That you're a smaller company, you can compete with a mid-sized company with a larger. There isn't necessarily the differential advantage of being a large company now, because agility and technology is going to differentiate you in an even greater fashion. And then the last thing is, there's a skilled labor shortage. And that's kind of come about through COVID and a lot of other changes in terms of the business climate. That makes it even more difficult, even more reason to leverage technology as we move through this. Well, The tech stack hasn't gotten any easier as well. So if you are at the level in sales and support and marketing, you'll notice all these things from marketing automation, your CRM solution, potentially a contact center, maybe some AI technologies. All of this is working across your customer journey. And each one of these technologies has some form of prospect or customer or something. And the ability to integrate these together is becoming more and more of a challenge and more important in terms of your technology selection. And technology selection is not easier as well. This is just a small slice of a space in the marketing field where people are tactically purchasing spot technology that isn't necessarily strategic for the entire organization. Consumers are not giving people any particular type of leeway as well. So there's less tolerance in the consumer environment. So a bad service customer experience can be something where people literally leave the brand without any second chance. So brand abandonment, silent termination are rampant across the space. Customer experience is coming to be at the very forefront of keeping customers. Now, we also have a generational shift. So we have Gen Z, we have millennials, we have boomers, and everybody is approaching things in a different way, although it's starting to converge in terms of behavior, to be perfectly honest. But what we do see is with Gen Z and millennials, they may actually leave a brand or not adopt a brand because it doesn't have self service options or options on different channels that they prefer. So this is something that is really going to be lifted up and unpacked as part of our discovery, as part of our 5 different actionable strategies that you can apply. I think we're all kind of coming together on a clear picture of what this is going to be, heavily focused on the customer facing mission, from acquiring customers to keeping customers, and looking at this within the context of all these down pressures that we see technically inside of our society and also across consumer behavior. So we'll tell you what these strategies are, how they work, what you can expect. We'll also give you a sample of what those are, some user stories, some success stories, some case studies, as well as some actual presentations that we'll show you of actual working technologies. Item number 1, here we go. We're kicking off our 1 of 5, and we're starting off with ensuring the best path and ensuring the best customer path across multiple channels. And so if this isn't a strategy that you're working on today, if you have your basic inbound voice type of system, you are probably missing out on a whole host of opportunities to route people in a really unique way to the right people or to the right resource and on the right channel. And this is a critical strategy that you need to have. And so we call this omnichannel inbound routing. And this is really powerful. And what will it do? Well, you'll notice that on each one of these screens, I'll have a little highlight over here on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, wherever it presents. But you'll see a highlight, and it's going to show you some of the things that we're looking to drive in terms of outcomes. So faster sales velocity and close ratios, higher customer survey ratings, CSAT scores, NPS. That's how we kind of look at that in terms of KPIs, better pipeline predictability, increased sales visibility. All these things are really important, and omnichannel inbound routing will get you there. Now, what are these modern channels? Modern channels are something that has grown to about the size of 31 different channels. So the 31 different channels are going to be led by some of your traditional ones, your email, your phone. Now we're layering in live chat and SMS. These are part of human moderated channels. But then now we also have our messaging. It could be Facebook messaging or WhatsApp, which is very international. And then also things that are totally social, Instagram, Facebook, and then ultimately into fully self-service, digital, autonomous channels like voice bots and chat bots. If your organization is currently living on one of these 2 traditional channels right here, you're probably missing out tremendously on the ability to communicate and support your customers. And I'm always talking about both from a sales side and a support side as well. Now, one of the things that we can provide here in this entire element of looking at channels is thinking about your salesperson or your support person. And when you look at these inbound omnichannel routing technologies, they have a single pane of glass. They allow the salesperson inside to work across multiple channels and to also distribute things to people in a way that makes sense upon the customer coming in, makes sense based upon their actual need. And all of that is managed and developed in a way that helps the experience. Here's an example: AutoPay. They're a 1,500 person firm. They were looking to optimize their outbound and inbound sales operations. Well, what they did was really critical here because they adopted one of these inbound routing solutions. And a lot of times, this is within the context of a core contact center, which is a really nasty name. Contact center is not great, but the modern contact center is really called the CX platform. And it's very, very base. It allows you to do all these things. The cost has come down dramatically. It's very, very affordable, and you can apply it to just your customer facing people. You may have 1,000 people in your company, but maybe only 50 people need this technology. But in this particular case, they had a huge outbound and inbound sales team. And so sometimes it's just small things. Here, a 3% reduction, reducing the abandon rate to under 3%, I should say. And then being able to have time savings of up to 10% on each particular engagement because of the automation and the integration that occurred. What did it do? Right off the bat, just outside of revenue, a 500K annual savings, net savings benefit to the organization because they were able to integrate it with their CRM. They were able to get first call connection. That was really important for this company. They wanted to make sure that when they reached out, they got a person right away and that call did not get abandoned. And so this was a really powerful impact for that organization, and just a small thing and one user story in the midst of many user stories that underscore the power of this technology. How does it work? Well, we've got a lot of different channels. You can see over here on the left-hand side, we have phone numbers, email addresses, all these things. And potentially they may get picked up by a voice bot or a chat bot. But nevertheless, these human channels over here will get picked up and they will be assessed. Like, do we know that person's telephone number? Do we know the last case that they used when they came in? Do we know information that we can ask them about maybe financial services or things of those natures? And we can figure out who they are and get them to the right people based upon the skill of this group of people that are sitting behind. So their capabilities are matched with the user's capabilities, the customer and the prospect's capabilities. And before you know it, they get there faster, they get to the right people, and they have the best conversation. And they have things that jump right into their CRM. And from the agent's perspective, they're immediately able to see information about that customer as they come in. This is the power of routing. So if you have a CRM or you have some customer system of record out there, you have the ability to plug this technology into this inbound routing and omnichannel technology. And it's a core contact center technology, so you don't need the full boat. You can just get the very basics of that core technology and then radically transform how people get to you and radically transform how you're able to speak to people across multiple channels. Number two, okay, this is one I really love, and it really gives your people a chance to win because it's what we call AI Agent Assist. And when you think about agent, don't worry about it. We're not talking about just customer service. This is your salesperson. This is your support person. This is your BDR. And in this, we get the ability to provide an assistant, an AI generated assistant that listens to the call as it moves through the call and provides important guidance and playbook guidance, and missed opportunities come up and surfaced and they're addressed immediately. And what does it do? It gives you improved upsell and cross-sell outcomes, more confident and capable customer facing people. They're going to stay longer. They're going to retain and hit their numbers better. You get first contact resolution. That's a very important KPI, along with a lower average handle time. So we're going to be able to have greater capacity inside of our people resources that we have. And so it's just software. It's software that just plugs directly into a knowledge base and can be connected directly into your unified communications or contact center technologies. It functions in real time. That's the most important thing. We're not waiting for the call to happen. It's happening and providing tips and guidance to your agent as they move along, and it's generating tons of data that gets recirculated back into the knowledge base and improves this group of people's ability to deliver. So Daily Pay, a company out there, basically a fintech company, was really rapidly expanding. And it became really a difficult thing to be able to go through quality assessments of how people are working. That meant training was elongated, speed to competency was elongated, and also the fact that that feedback loop was so slow that they weren't able to really optimize that team. But they implemented agent assist. And what did it do? Well, it improved agent performance by 8.5%, so almost 10%. And CSAT scores pumped right up, 22% increase. But look at the impact amongst that and many other different KPIs that were improved. And it's really the cumulative effect of all these KPIs that impact things. Savings annually, $2 million. That is huge. They were able to scale, but they were able to handle things because they were creating capacity in their system by improving the performance of their customer facing people and thus lowering that cost and improving customer satisfaction. Agent Assist is really kind of a must have. And you can use it anywhere. You can use it in your sales side, your customer support, but it integrates with your CRM. You don't have to have any of the type of after call write-ups that you do and summaries. It'll do all of that for you, and it gets people to competency quickly. It's a must-have. I really can't stress it enough. We'll kind of build it back together with a few other things that we have here as well. We'll tie them together maybe around order of operation. Highest and best use, number 3. What is that? Well, if you think about people buying real estate, there's this concept of the highest and best use of that property. What's the highest and best use of the people in your organization, with their skills, with their capabilities? And what we address here is probably one of the most powerful, highest ROI impacts inside the business, and that's conversational AI. And conversational AI, think voice bot, think chat bot, but it's all generative AI. It has huge impacts inside the organization, reduced inbound times. In fact, you can put it in front of every single call and use it to basically handle that distribution of call. You get higher first contact resolution. You become more compliant just because of the consistency of it. The cost per interaction drops. So it could be literally as much as an 80% drop in cost per interaction. And ultimately, it allows your sales and support people to move into a realm of handling the most either important, valuable, or complex types of conversations with your prospects and customers. Let's first focus on a voice bot. Now, a voice bot, again, it's software. It plugs directly into your voice system, which is so important because it takes away the fact that you have to change a behavior. You're not sending people to a new place. They're calling in, they're hitting that automatically. And you can select the voice and personas to represent the brand inside your business. And you can cultivate this knowledge base, which is really important to be able to provide the level of full comprehensive support for your business. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about a use case here, which is really, really cool, and also let you listen to one of the voice conversations, which I think is super dynamic. Golden Nugget, they're a division of Marriott, so they're a rather large organization. They were having increased call volume. Their staff was being constrained, perfectly honest, and they were now being asked to add or to address more and more tasks related to the client. That'd be reservations, payments, just general questions, concierge, and call routing throughout the business. So they applied a voice bot. They took a voice bot and addressed it on this specific need. And it handled almost 30% of the calls. And when I say handled, it was able to fully complete the booking on about 30% of the calls, which came out to about 3,000 reservations. And this is just in the first month. And it handled 87% of the non-reservation calls, which is incredible. So that's addressing and using your unstructured data that you have inside the business. Let's jump in. I'm going to go ahead and bring right up here to the screen this particular reservation. And here you go.
Golden Nugget Lake Charles, this call may be recorded. How can I help? Hey, I was hoping to make a hotel reservation for this Saturday through Monday.
Sure, let me take a few details to see what deals we have. How many people are coming?
It'll be two people.
Alrighty, I'm just going to make a note of that now. Okay, I've got you down for 2 nights from Saturday, the 8th of July, to Monday, the 10th of July, for two people. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Now just give me 1 sec and I'll have a look at what rooms we have available. Would you like a room with one bed or two beds?
One bed is fine.
Okay, we've got a Gold Tower Deluxe King with a balcony available. So including taxes, you'll be looking at a total of $861.70. Should I go ahead with the booking?
Yeah, that's fine. Let's go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to have to put your booking under the name on your credit card. Could I please have your full name? Okay, I'm going to have to collect your address as well. So could you either type your zip code into the keypad and press pound or read it out loud? And could you also tell me the first line of your address? Okay, before I book you in, I'm going to have to take a payment. I'm going to transfer you over to our secure line now. If you could please stay on the line. Otherwise, your booking won't be confirmed. It'll just be a moment. Okay, that's confirmed. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
No, that's all. Thank you so much.
Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for calling. Goodbye.
So you'll notice right there that the lifelike quality of the voice bot is tremendous in terms of its ability to interpolate what the individual is requesting of them and to be able to respond with dynamic questions. You'll even notice that it was dropping an inside of the conversation as well to create more of a lifelike quality with the agent. So when we looked at the voice bots of, we'll say, previous ilk that were robotic sounding, the ability to have a lifelike conversation and a conversation that is adaptive to the questions of the caller are greatly enhanced in today's marketplace. So what does this do? Again, we leverage the existing channel, we don't change the customer behavior, and we can elevate to a person as needed. So this is going to be important when we talk about some of these flows. The next part is, what is a chatbot? Well, I think we all know what a chatbot is. It plugs directly into a website, but it can also plug into a messaging app. And it's a little bit different than our voice bot in the fact that what we're trying to do is make this available on a different channel. So not on the voice channel, it's actually on a digital channel that we are incorporating into a website. And so when you look at your organization and where you're directing people, this is really important to determine how you're going to balance this out between the various different channel opportunities that you have for self-service. So here's a self-service channel opportunity, and this is a chatbot, but I want you to notice that it's not on a website, it's actually in WhatsApp. So we've taken a different channel, WhatsApp, in messaging. We've incorporated what we would have as a chatbot, and then we've made it what's called multimodal, which means we can communicate it through voice. We can communicate it on the keyboard as well. Let's have a look at how that sounds.
Hey, this is Sebastian. I have a family emergency and I need to rebook my flight to London. That's me, my wife, and the two kids.
So there we saw a speech to text as well as a text to speech conversion that went on with that particular solution. So very, very powerful. Inside of the business, we want to think about, like, how is that flow going to be? We set an intention. That intention could be fundamentally around what we want to do with a semi-autonomous or autonomous workflow, which means we intend it to capture data for our end user, which could be the salesperson or it could be the customer support person, or we absolutely want to take care of it, the full booking, the sale, or resolving a customer service issue directly in the bot and not go beyond that. The next item that we have, number 4, is know what you're doing. This is really, really cool and maybe almost one of the first places to start, even though we have it as number 4, and that's AI conversational intelligence. And AI conversational intelligence is an analytics tool that you bring in to layer over all of the engagement that you have inside of your business. And so it allows you to identify competition information that's being spoken about, unhappy customers, tonality of conversations, lets you know whether or not conversations are complete. And that could be across SMS, across chat, across email. And it helps with reducing agent turnover, because what we do is we take this information from the AI conversational intelligence and we use it to improve our coaching in a way that is hyper specific. Now, what's really cool about it is we kind of talked a little bit about some of the routing stuff earlier, and we have the right channel. So think about all the channels that we have coming in here, and we're taking a log of all of this engagement, and it's related to all these various different contacts and people and cases. So there's tremendous context around all of this as well. And we're able to process this through this AI engine that delivers for us radical insights into what is happening inside of our organization. Now, it doesn't just look at a sample. So this is when we're typically looking at a company that's doing some form of QA around their business. They take a sample because it is laborious and painful to go through all of that process and then turn around and try to affect change across a broad group of people. And it may not apply to everybody, but this allows us to get specific. What's happening in the entire business, what certain people are doing, and then be laser focused on how we affect change inside of the business. Now, Service First is an organization. They're a global BPO, and they wanted something that gave them better insights. They knew that they had these tremendous inefficiencies in this 2,000 person organization, and the cumulative effect of 2,000 people having maybe a non-optimized performance is impactful, to say the least. So what they did was they implemented conversational intelligence, and they used it to replace this manual process that they had underway. And they knew that they had to get people into what they call the first person contact and get to the right person, and to be able to make sure that they had regulatory compliance, that they were on point, that they didn't have exposure, and they needed better conversion across the board inside of their business. This was all about getting better loan volume inside of an organization, which is huge. That's their lifeblood of their business. So the conversational intelligence and the data from it, they use to reinform the training around people and to take different approaches as well in terms of their outreach. And what they did was they got a reduction in hang-up rate, which was a problem with them as people were converting on web forms, sending information to the organization for them to follow up on. They were having a struggle in terms of getting connection. So they reduced that by 39%, and they improved at the very end gate of all of it, loan conversions, which was the grail for them, or what they were trying to get to, by 44%, almost $4 million in increased loan volume through improvements. So this is also something that is impactful as well. So before I talked a little bit about maybe what we would look here across these 5 in terms of order of operation, I really think that conversational intelligence is something you start with almost. You get a better lay of the land of what's happening inside your business. You use this to maybe now come in with agent assist, number 2 that we talked about. And we use that to help our salespeople and our customer support people have a better conversation, a more complete conversation, and a more focused conversation that gets better results on the end, which just improves the experience for the customer all the way around, but gets huge bottom line impact right away. So now, coming out of this right here, where would we point it? Well, you would point it in the sales side, right? So you would want to sell better with AI intelligence, and we can take this data and port it into your CRM to get you better predictability. That's really huge. And so it's looking at across all of these engagements. The next thing is improve customer satisfaction and retention. That makes total sense because obviously it's much less expensive to keep a customer than it is to acquire a new one. So this has to be a high priority. And in an uncertain economy, this is a place where a lot of people are starting in this particular area. But when we look at the people side of things, one, we should be able to damp down the aspects of turnover, but at the same time, rocket people to competency faster because right out of the gate, as they get into live conversations with customers, they have this guide directly with them. So we've got better coaching to help them. All of this here, operational efficiencies, better decisioning from leadership inside the organization, better customer experience. This is a winner all the way through. And it's fundamentally, I wouldn't call it a no-brainer, but it is something that you can do quickly. You can layer this into your organization in a way that within 60 days, you're getting insights that you never had before. You're making changes in the next 30 days. In the first quarter, you're getting impact to your business. And again, this starts to fuel what you'll think about doing in terms of knowledge base, which will feed your agent assist. And then as we lead into starting to manage deflection and really optimize the organization, we have a better understanding of what customers' needs are and how to address those. The last item that we really want to talk about is deepen customer insights and automate. And so this is something that is ultimately a little bit different than maybe the first four. The first four were focused on how we're affecting change directly to the customer or directly to the inside salesperson or customer support person. But here we're taking a broader view of analytics and we're making sure that everything in our marketing engine, our sales engine, our support engines are all coordinated and we have share the same understanding of the customer. So this is really about decisioning, could be around ad spend, cost of customer acquisition, long-term customer value, campaigns that work really well, how we're supporting people in terms of the actual sales and support process. And all of this right here is something that we use customer data platforms for, and BI and technology solutions, which would be data lakes and essentially visualization technology. So this is a little bit more back end. This is something we would work on with your sales leadership, your support leadership, marketing, and IT. The key is to build a customer 360. This is not something that's done particularly well across the board. I really want to be honest with you about that this is a great opportunity for improvement inside business. Managing real-time data, a lot of times it's across multitudes of different applications. Having a singular view into your customer forward engagement is not necessarily something that's consolidated. And also understanding the journey. Now, part of this here, and we have this in black, is about creating this customer 360, this data lake. And I call out in here things like this CDP, a customer data platform. Think of it like a big data router. And we use this to route data between our applications to keep everybody informed of particular needs. For example, somebody has a bad customer service experience. We don't want to send out something from a marketing automation solution that is disconnected and not representative of how that relationship currently is. We might want to pull that person from a sequence or a cadence and then maybe send something into our CRM that lets an account manager know maybe they need to reach out and develop some sort of connection with that individual and build back that loyalty. So this is really, really super important. It's a much broader sense. Now, people are using CDPs with AI-based analytics now, the AI-based predictability. And this is really huge. So Trade Me was working on doing a lot of things in terms of target marketing. And it was really important for them to be able to be less reliant upon third-party data science resources. And so they used a CDP to give them greater agility and to be able to consolidate that customer data, which was all across the organization. I just showed you in that last picture. And then to improve the ad monetization, just get increased return on ad spend. And what they got was 3x return increase in what their campaign performances were before they started with the CDP. And so they were able to get some really, really cool things here. Like they increased the open rates for campaigns by 20%, but then they had greater click-through rates here for campaigns using the AI predictions of almost 50%. That is massive. And so you can see why they got to that 3x. So this is something that can be done inside of an organization, as we work many times with CMOs and CROs and people that are leading up the customer experience or the customer support side of the business. It becomes really apparent to them of thinking about everything from acquiring a customer all the way through to supporting and upsell and renewal, and having that consistent predictive understanding of where the customer is in that process and what their status is inside of your business in terms of state, happy, not happy, buying, trends, all these types of things are important to have, and a CDP gets you all that information. So this is something that you can do to ensure that your data is correct and to route and update your data. It really reduces the number of spot integrations and challenges that your IT teams have, and you really start to understand the journey across your stack. Here we are, just looking at this across the board. We have these 5 approaches that we can take. We can expand our channels. These are all choices. We can expand our channels and create a better path. That's going to improve the organization. Empower your sales and support team, right? We're going to use Agent Assist for that. Apply the highest and best use of our people's time. And we're going to use conversational AI, voice bots, chat bots. We're going to manage the amount of people we need and where they're located inside the business to develop better downstream results in terms of profitability and sustainability for our business, making us more elastic. This is really number 3 right here. This is huge in terms of getting to be more elastic. And then number 4, what are we doing? Like AI conversational intelligence is going to let us know. No more guesswork. 100% of the engagement assessed, analyzed, broken down, sentiment, customers, competitors, everything we need to know about our engagement, and more importantly, how we need to change it to get better results. And then our customer 360 is going to bring our entire stack into unison. Now, there's a lot of KPIs, like we're thinking, let's get greater revenue, and maybe let's make sure our costs don't grow at the same rate, and let's get a better bottom line. But there's all these penultimate KPIs out here that help you in the process. So sales velocity, upsell, cross-sell rates, close ratios, average handle time, first contact resolution, net promoter score. What degree are you deflecting to the actual bot versus going to a human being? How fast are we getting people to ramp time, slowing churn on customers, churn on people? And how are we getting better ROI from engaging or integrating our stack in a really novel way? All these things get us to here. And so this is the blueprint. This is how you do it. You do this with your customer facing organization. And I use profitability and sustainability in an interrelated fashion, but we talked tremendously about the fact that we have great uncertainty right now. So this is an opportunity for ourselves to fundamentally, organizationally, and technologically reorganize. Now, we can help you do this. Obviously, we're here as an organization, Arroyo 360. We can help on the consulting and ideation side of this. So we have frameworks called the Activate CX framework that help you get from point A to point B, how to unpack, how to use this AI inside of your business, and how to crawl, walk, run. How do we bring it into the organization in the right order and the right cost to be able to get the results that we need? And through that, we have tons of platform resellers that we work with. We're sitting here with RingCentral today. They're amazing. They've got capabilities that fit into the large majority of the things we have here. They are a definite player. And then we have engineering talent. So we have this incredible team of architects and engineers and developers that can help bring this to life inside of your business and work as a member of your team to bring about change inside the business. Now, You can find us a lot on the web. So there's a lot of digital information out there on us. Obviously, our homepage, you can check that out. We have some really cool podcasts. So in addition to webinars, we have podcasts with industry leaders and thought leaders around the direction of where everything's going with AI. And this is something that we would definitely recommend that you look into. And then we have some landing pages that give you smart blueprints and things that you can think about in terms of how to get started. So we want you to be already very much educated to the point where when we get together, we have an accelerated process in terms of moving forward and affecting change in your business. We hope that you had a great experience. We want you to really feel comfortable to reach out and speak to us about ultimately where you sit currently right now in your technology stack, in your customer journey, and ultimately where you want to go with your business. And we can be that trusted advisor that provides some solutioning, some wisdom, and some opportunities to potentially change dramatically how your business is growing and performing, which is the fun and exciting part for us in our business. Thanks for taking an hour to listen to what we put together here. It is a blueprint. All these things are tried and true and tested and will change fundamentally how your business moves forward. Adopting AI is something that is a journey into itself, and it is something that every organization should have a strategy and shouldn't take tactical moves towards. There's too much at risk in doing it that way. Again, thanks so much for joining, and wish you a wonderful part of your day.